This is John Hansen with FloridaPhysique.com. We are in the gym training today with Alex Peaty, who is getting ready for his first bodybuilding competition. How you feeling, Alex?
Right now I'm feeling excited, but also very depleted and tired.
Yeah. This is your first contest, so how long did you diet for the show?
I dieted, well, pretty much I stick to a contest-type diet all year round, but
okay.
I really started to get structured with everything at 16 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you've never really done like a bodybuilding diet before, have you?
Never done a bodybuilding diet, but I've followed a bodybuilding lifestyle for probably about 6 or 7 years now.
Okay.
So very structured training and dieting and kind of living just like a bodybuilder would who competes, but just never took that step. Wanted to make sure that I felt I was ready to, and felt good about stepping on stage before I did.
Yeah, I think you're definitely ready. I mean, we've done some posing practice before, and you got a lot of size and really good shape. So I think if you stick to the diet, I think you're going to really do well. Yeah,
I mean, my plan was to, try and come in as best conditions I can, because, that's going to be the determining factor to, make yourself appear bigger on stage. So I know that, I have the size I need, but, it's just dialing in that conditioning where it's going to make the difference, I think. So.
Yeah, that usually is the thing that makes the difference, is the conditioning. So you're doing the NPC Hurricane Bay, and then you got the NPC Southeastern USA, which is a national qualifier.
Yes. Yep. I picked those two shows because, it was about a year from when I decided, I was ready to compete, and I wanted a full year to have a good, solid off season, and then, plan out everything and start a 16-week contest diet, and it fit into, work and, my family life. So these two shows seemed like good shows. I know both these shows are highly respected shows in Florida. So, and they both also have women's physique, which is important because my wife is also doing the shows, and we wanted to kind of experience this together. So we picked those two shows, and so far it's been great.
I think that's great that you guys are doing it together, and you're living together, obviously, and going through the diet together. So they say those that live together stay together.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people warned us before the diet that things were going to get different between us in our relationship, but it's funny. She and I are just very similar to one another, and it's almost like I'm living with myself. So it wasn't. There's no real big arguments. Nothing too out of the ordinary, and it was very memorable to have experienced that with a person that I love. So.
Now, with your training program, how many days a week are you training, and how do you split up your body parts?
Yeah, the training program, I've tried various programs, and the one that I've stuck to the last year has been typically 2 days on, 1 day off. So I found that as soon as I started to not train Monday to Friday like a typical workout would be, my strength increased, my recovery, and I was able to get better pumps in the gym. So I think that anything for too long doesn't work, so I'll be changing that this off season during my rebound after the show. But I was happy with the improvements that I've made following that workout routine, and I also incorporated training twice a day. So on a leg day, I would come in the morning and do hamstrings, and then I would come back at night and do quads. And before, I would try and do hamstrings and quads in one session, and I found that by splitting them up, I had tremendous improvement in both my hamstring and quads. I've never had growth like that before when I was training them together. So, trying new things, and I'm not one of those guys that just follow one strict way. And I open my mind up. I research a lot. I read a lot of other, prep coaches, gurus, athletes, training styles, and I try various methods to see what works for me. So I'm very open-minded that way.
So 2 days on, 1 day off. Was that like a 4-day split then?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is that I won't actually train a body part on a specific day. So a lot of people say, okay, Monday is chest day. For me, it doesn't really matter what day it is. I'll just say, I'll start the week off with legs, and then I'll take a day off after legs, and then I'll do chest, because I'll train chest after a day off, because that's another area I'm trying to bring up. And then I'll head back, and then I'll take a day off, and then after that I'll train shoulders, and then the next day I'll train arms, then I'll take a day off, and the cycle repeats, and I'll hit legs again.
Okay. So a 5-day split then, basically. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But,
so.
oh, sorry, but the leg training is twice a day. So. Yeah.
Okay. Now today we're training arms. So when you train arms, how do you do that? Do you put them, do you triceps first and then biceps, or do you do them together, or how do you do it?
Typically, like 90% of the time in the off season, I'll train triceps first, because I feel like that's a larger portion of the arm, so I want to give most energy to that area, and then I'll follow with biceps. Sometimes I'll do a tricep exercise and then a bicep exercise. I'll rarely superset in the off season. And today's, a little bit different, obviously, because I don't have the fuel. I don't have any fats or carbs in me to fuel a workout. I'm just basically depleting right now my glycogen. So when I carb up in a couple days, my muscle cells soak up, the carbs. But so, today's going to be not really typical of a off-season workout, more so of a pre-contest, depletion workout.
Okay, Alex, so for your arms, you started off with the tricep pushdowns. Is that something you typically start off with?
Yeah, I'll typically start off with that to, warm my elbows and joints up and get a good contraction and squeeze on that. And sometimes I'll vary the attachments. I'll use a V-grip or a straight bar or sometimes a rope. But generally, I would start with some type of pushdown.
More just to get the muscle warmed up and the elbows warmed up and...
Yeah, just to get my muscle connection going and some blood flow to the joints and muscle.
I noticed today you're doing like one tricep exercise followed by one bicep exercise and alternating like that. Do you normally do that, or do you sometimes just do one before the other one?
Typically, I'll train like my triceps straight, and then I'll go on to biceps. But today, I wanted to switch it up and kind of, go back and forth the two.
Yeah. Now, for your first bicep exercise, you did barbell curls, but you used a bar that they have here at the Powerhouse Gym in Downtown Tampa with like a pronated grip, so it's almost like a hammer curl, right?
Yeah, I like that bar a lot. We recently just got it, and it's kind of simulates a hammer curl, but a little more strict in form.
Yeah.
So I generally try and use that every other workout, and then on the other workouts, I'll use dumbbell for a hammer curl, sometimes a rope.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then how many sets and reps are you doing with that typically?
Generally, I like to do anywhere from 4 to 5 sets on an exercise, and I like to do anywhere from, in the off season, I'll keep my reps for arms around 8 to 12, and then pre-contests, I'll go up to like 15, 20.
Okay.
But I'll still try and keep at least one heavy exercise in there, even pre-contest.
Okay. And what was the next exercise you did for your triceps?
I do the hammer dip machine, which we recently got, and I really like that machine. And you get a good squeeze on that, and it's different than the other pin-loaded press dip machines I find. And you can get a lot more focus on the muscle. So I like to incorporate that pretty much every tricep workout.
One thing I noticed with that, you used a grip where your hands were like pushed back, and you're using the outer handle. Why do you do that?
I find it hits more of the lateral head of the tricep, and then if you go pronated, it hits more of the long head. So I'll like switch it up, switch the grips up, and just kind of see what feels right for that day. Okay. But the focus is all on the tricep and off the chest. So
if you used a grip where it was more like like a regular dip, what would that hit? More the medial head on the top?
Yeah. Yep.
And you're trying to hit the long head there. Do you think you need more work on that one?
I mean, I try and like equally hit all parts, and I just like to switch it up. I like variety in my grips, my workouts. I'm always switching up exercises the way I grip.
And then your next bicep exercise was really another unique one. You were doing like concentration curls, but you did them with a cable, and you did them like in between your legs. That was pretty cool.
It's actually something that I came up with myself. I hadn't seen anybody do it. I was just kind of messing around in the gym, and I find that if I can lock my elbow into the side of my inner kneecap, that it's kind of like fits in there in that little indent, and I can really keep it tight and just focus on curling the bar and getting a good contraction, and it's a totally different feel than using a dumbbell. So it's something that I started doing about a year ago, and I get the best pump out of all bicep exercises off that, surprisingly enough. So I'll try and incorporate that at least every other workout.
And then your last exercise, you supersetted biceps and triceps on some cable exercises, right?
Yeah, sometimes I like to do a superset on my last exercise just to get one last good pump into the muscle, and especially when you're training biceps and triceps together, you can really get a good pump by alternating the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're doing more reps there, a little lighter.
Yeah, more reps, lighter weight, and less time in between the sets.
Okay.
So.
And what are you focusing on there? With the triceps, you're hitting more the lateral head, right?
Yeah, it kind of simulates a skull crusher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The grip was more pronated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then the biceps, I guess that's more like a bicep peak then, right?
Yeah, that's like basically a concentration curl, or sorry, a preacher curl. So, but just using a machine. So, like typically in the off season, I would use a dumbbell for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
About what, 4 exercises for each biceps and triceps? How many sets total you think you did?
About 4 sets.
4 sets each.
Yep.
Okay. So about 16 sets then for each one.
Yep. Yep.
And the reps were a little bit higher, maybe 12 to 15, like you said.
Exactly. I would go a little. I typically still go high in the off season. I used to try and train my biceps and triceps extremely heavy and lower reps, and I didn't actually start noticing growth until I lowered the weight and focused on, going for a pump instead of trying to get them stronger. So I think the arms is, responds better to, moderate weight and getting as much blood flow you can to the muscle.
That's interesting. All right, Alex, well, we wish you the best of luck this weekend coming up. You got the Hurricane Bay, and then you got the Southeast USA. It'll be your bodybuilding debut. So I think you're going to do really well. We wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, I appreciate that. I'd also just like to thank my wife for all the support she's given me throughout this prep, and also all the support she's given me in making the decision to compete. And also my coach, John O'Regan. The last year we've been working together, and he's really helped every aspect of my diet, nutrition, and training, and he's prepped me for this show, and I've been really happy with the package that we're going to bring. And I'd also like to thank you for interviewing me in this workout, and also for your help posing. And I'm ready for this to finally get here, and I'm excited to get on stage.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Alex. Well, for Alex Peaty, this is John Hansen at the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa for FloridaPhysique.com.